Good morning children, how are you all? I hope all are safe and sound. So let us start our class today. Are you ready to listen the class? Okay, so let's go to the chapter today. Today I am going to discuss you the chapter Laws of Motion. You already learned in the previous chapter the changes in motion of many objects in our surroundings, right? Also you learned speed, velocity, acceleration, such term also. Today we are going to discuss laws of motion. Laws of motion proposed by famous scientist Newton, Sir Isaac Newton. What is the significance of laws of motion? What is the importance of laws of motion? We want to know it, right? So what is the main significance means whatever the things happen in our surroundings, these laws of motion connected almost everything happen in our surroundings. Morning to night, so many things are happening in our daily life. Is it or not, children? So these all things are connected with the laws of motion. For example, I will tell you. Suppose you are traveling in a moving bus. You are in a moving bus. You are standing in a moving bus. Suddenly, the driver applied the brake. What will happen to you? Yes, you tend to fall forward. Is it or not? It's happened in our daily life only. Another example I will tell you. Suppose you are standing in a bus which is stopped. Okay, so you are standing, you are at rest. You are standing, the bus also at rest. Suddenly, the driver started to move the bus. What will happen to you? It may happen. Yes, you tend to fall backward. Is it or not? It's happened in our daily life. It's happening in our daily life. Another example I will tell you. You might have seen that some persons are getting down from moving bus, but we should not do it. How you observe? What you observed? He will run some time. He will run some distance. Then only he will stop. Or suddenly, as soon as he is getting down from the moving bus, he will stop there? No. He runs some distance, then he will stop. Why he as soon as getting down from the moving bus, why he didn't stop there? And you also observed that suppose you shake one tree which is full of fruits, mango fruits. When you shake the tree, what will happen? The mangoes get separated from the branches and coming down towards the ground. Is it or not? Why the mangoes get separated from the branches? It's already attached with the branches. Is it or not? When you shake the tree, the mangoes started to separate from the branches and coming towards the ground. Why the mangoes get separated from the branches? There also the application of laws of motion we can say. And somebody asking you to jump on a cement floor and a sand floor. Which one you will prefer? Cement floor or sand? Of course you will prefer to jump on sand. Why? Why? Because you know that when you jump on the cement floor, your leg may get pain. Why you jump on the cement floor, you may get pain on your leg? Why it's not happen on sand? There also laws of motion application there. Look my dear children, n number of examples we can say like that which is connected with the laws of motion. This all happening in our daily life, is it or not? And one more thing, at home you might have seen that your mother cleaning the carpet by beating a stick with on the carpet. The dust particle gets separated and the carpet remains clean. Why the dust particle gets separated from the carpets? There also, what is there, my dear children? The application of laws of motion. That's why I told you laws of motion connected everything related to our daily life. Laws of motion connected to everything in our daily life. So let's start. I think you may get interesting topics from this lesson. Very interesting chapter, my dear children. Why? Because these are all we can see in our surrounding. You may didn't think why it is so. So many times it may happen you fall forward while you are moving in a bus, when the driver suddenly applied, when you are coming a school bus, suppose the school driver may apply the brake suddenly. You may experience what? You may tend to fall forward. It happened also. Is it not, my dear children? Do you think why it is so? No. So these are all we are going to explain now. So let's go to the chapter laws of motion. The scientist who helped Newton to propose laws of motion was Aristotle. He was a Greek philosopher and he was so interested the term motion, and he observed almost everything in our surrounding, and he gave a statement that the natural state of an earthly object is to be rest. That means finally any object, finally it comes to rest only. He observed so. So he stated that the natural state of an earthly object to be at rest. So he gave the statement regarding that. After some more years, another scientist called Galileo. He was so many titles for Galileo, you know that, right? Father of observational astronomy, father of modern science. So like that, father of scientific method, like that, so many titles for Galileo. So there he proposed one theory. Galileo theory is completely contradict with our Aristotle theory. What Aristotle theory stated? The natural state of an object is to be rest. But Galileo told that it was wrong. He observed the objects in our surrounding and he told that suppose one object is to be in motion. It tends to be in motion unless there is no external force acting on it. Understand, my dear children? Suppose one object is to be in motion. It continues motion unless if there is no external force acting on it. Suppose here you have one ball is here. So I am just moving this ball. This ball is moving. If there is no force, what will happen? The ball continues in motion only. If there is no external, if I am not stopping them, if I am not stopping the ball, what will happen? The ball will in continuous motion only. So this was the theory of Galileo, and this theory he proved with an experiment also. Galileo proved this theory. Which theory, my dear children? When an object is to be in motion, that body continues its state of motion unless there is no external force acting on it. Here the external force, if I am stopping, okay, it will stop. Otherwise, it will continuous motion only. So he proved this statement with an activity. So I am doing that activity here, my dear children. So two inclined plane with the same angle of inclination I have taken. So these two inclined plane I joined together. Now what he did, okay, the same I am doing here. He took one marble piece. Here I am taking one ball, a small ball I am taking, and he took one marble piece and he started to release some initial height. some here this height it started to release. This height the marble started to release. So I am also started to release this ball from this height you can see that. So you know that it will come down because of gravitational force, and when it is coming towards down its velocity also increases, is it or not? So because of gravitational force the marble will come down only and again it will move up. So when it is rolled up the velocity will decrease. You already learned in first lesson that one, is it or not? When it is coming towards the slope, down the slope the velocity will increase, and when it is moving rolled up the velocity will decrease. So let us see what will happen. Here at certain height I am going to release the marble. So let us see how much it can attain the height on the another slope. Dear children, what you observed? I released the marble piece some initial height from here and it attained the same height on the another slope also. Is it or not? It attained the same initial height. Now I am reducing the angle of inclination. This angle I am going to reduce now. Let us see what will happen. Is it reaches the same height or not on the another slope? Let us see it. Okay. Children, now what you observed? So where I am releasing certain height here, so the same height it attain on the another slope also, even though I reduce the angle of inclination. But difference is the ball has to cover some distance to attain this height. It covers some more distance to attain this height. Then Galileo thought, then angle of inclination becomes 0, what will happen? Is it or not? It reduced means some more reduced we can, then also the ball will reaches the marble piece, here taken the marble piece, so it will reaches the same height also, even though I am reducing the angle of inclination, the ball will reaches the same height, but the third time some more distance it will cover to reaches that height. The ball has to cover some more distance to reaches the height. Now what he did is the angle of inclination becomes 0. Then he wants to know when the ball reaches that height. If the angle of inclination becomes 0, so at what time, at what height it will reaches? So my dear children, let us see, if I reduce the angle of inclination becomes 0, what will happen to the ball? Dear children, what do you observe now? The ball is stopping there. Is it reaches the height? No, it is in continuous motion. It is in motion and it is covering more distance to attain the initial height. It is in continuous motion. We don't know where the ball will reaches the initial height. It is in continuous motion only. Children, is it possible to attain the initial height for that marble piece? Is the marble piece attain the same height? Is it possible? No, because one force is applying there to stop the ball somewhere. Which force that one? Yes, frictional force. But in Galileo time, there was no explanation of frictional force. That's why he said the ball will be in continuous motion to attain the initial height. But we know now what is the application of frictional force, right my dear children? We are walking on the road or we are holding some objects on our hand, constructing the building or the moving vehicle on the road, these all because of frictional force. The ball will stop somewhere. The ball must stop somewhere because of the frictional force, that unbalanced force. That is frictional force. But Galileo time that frictional force was not explained. That's why he said the ball will be in continuous motion if there is no external force acting on it. That any object will be in continuous motion. It tends to be in motion only unless there is no external force acting on it. So through this experiment he proved like that. But what I said, we know clear, the ball will stop somewhere because of frictional force. Understand, my dear children, Galileo activity? Okay, so let us see what is Newton's law of motion now. From the theory of, from the statement of these two scientists, that is Aristotle and Galileo, from these scientist statements, our Newton proposed the theory laws of motion. So let us see what is laws of motion. Newton proposed 3 laws of motion. First law of motion, second law of motion, and third law of motion. So we are going to first discuss first law of motion. First law of motion states that every object will be at rest or in uniform motion unless an external unbalanced force acting on it. Do you understand anything? Suppose one object is at rest. It tends to be at rest only. It doesn't want to change its state to motion. Suppose one object is at motion. It likes to be in that state only. It doesn't want to change its state to rest or something. So every object will remain at rest. It tends to be at rest only. Suppose one object is at rest, it tends to be at rest only. Suppose one object is at motion, it tends to be at motion only. It doesn't want to change its state. But sometimes some unbalanced external force may act on it. Then it should change its state. Is it or not? Suppose this ball is there. Now what is this ball? This ball is at rest. I am just make a small force on it. What will happen? It changes state. Is it or not? If I am not changing the state, this ball will be at rest only. This ball at rest only. Some unbalanced force acting on the ball, what happened? It is in motion. Then it changes state. Understand, my dear children? Suppose this ball is moving now. This ball is moving now. I am stopping this ball. If I am not stopping, it is in continuous motion only. It doesn't want to change its state. So any objects like that, if an object is at rest, it tends to be at rest only. If an object is in motion, it tends to be in motion only. So to verify Newton's first law of motion, there is a small activity for you. You also just do the activity at home. So nothing for this activity, you don't want anything external, anything. Just need a glass, a small cardboard and one coin here. Okay, I am placing the coin on the cardboard. That's all. Now just tap the cardboard with your finger. Just tap it. What will happen? Let us see it. So what do you observe, my dear children? The cardboard has moved away, and what happened to the coin? It falls into the glass. Why the coin not going along with the cardboard? I just here gave some force, then both should separate and Why only the cardboard has been separated? Why the coin not? Here we can apply the first law of motion, because this cardboard is at rest, the coin also at rest only, right? I started to move the cardboard, it has moved away, but the coin wants to be at rest only. It doesn't want to change its state. What is the state before initial state? Rest only. So when I am giving some force on this cardboard, the cardboard changes the state. Now rest to motion cardboard, but the coin wants to be at rest only. That's why it doesn't move along with the cardboard. It wants to be in rest. That's why the coin as it is fall into the glass, because it wants to be in rest only. Understand, my dear children? So this term, that means the body doesn't want to change its state. That property we called as inertia. What is it called, my dear children? Inertia. Any object doesn't want to change its state. Either it is rest or motion. If a body is at rest, it wants to be at rest only. If a body is in motion, it wants to be in motion only. It doesn't want to change its motion or rest. It doesn't want to change its state. That property of an object is called inertia. Inertia 3 types, my dear children. Inertia 3 types. So what is inertia? Inertia is a tendency of any object, it doesn't want to change its state, either rest or motion. If an object is at rest, the body wants to be in at rest only. If an object is at motion, it wants to be in that uniform motion only. It doesn't want to change its states. So inertia how many types, my dear children? 3 types. So 3 types of inertia: inertia of rest, inertia of motion, inertia of direction. So let us see first what is inertia of rest. Suppose any object is at rest. I am placing this coin here. So it will be at rest only. It will stay there only until there is no external force acting on it. Is it or my dear children? Or this ball I am placing here, it will be here only until there is no external force acting on it. Beginning I told you one example, my dear children. When you are in a stopped bus, in a stationary bus, you are standing in a stationary bus, suddenly the driver started to move the bus. What will happen to you? You tend to fall backward. Why? There, because of inertia of rest. Because stationary bus, the bus is at rest, your body also at rest. Is it or not? So your body and rest at rest, and the bus is also at rest. When the driver started to move the bus started to move. So your lower part of your body also started to move along with the bus, but your upper body doesn't want to change its state. Which state? Rest. It doesn't want to go forward. Your upper body doesn't want to change the state of rest. It wants to be at rest only. So it doesn't want to go forward. So what happened? Your upper body tends to fall backward. So there, which one is applying there? Inertia of rest. Understand, my dear children? Another example, inertia of motion. So this one is inertia of rest only. Why? Because I told you the coin is at rest and the cardboard is also at rest. When I started to move the cardboard changed the motion, but the coin doesn't want to change the inertia of rest. That's why it falls into the glass. Another one, the next one is inertia of motion. Inertia of motion means example, the same example beginning I told you. When you are in a moving bus, you are traveling in a bus. Suddenly the driver applied the brake. What will happen? You will fall forward. Why? Because they are inertia of motion, my dear children. The bus is in motion. Your body also in motion only. Suddenly the bus stopped. Your lower part of the body comes to rest along with the bus. But your upper body doesn't want to change the state of motion. It wants to go forward only. It doesn't want to change the state of rest, state of motion. Your upper body wants to go forward. That's why you are falling forward. You are trying to fall forward. So, there which one is applicable? Inertia of motion. So, if an object is at rest, it attains some inertia. If an object is in motion, it gains some inertia. If an object is at rest, the inertia it is gained called inertia of rest. When an object is in motion, gain the inertia we call inertia of motion. Understand, my dear children? So, the reason because you understood, I think you understood the reason why we tend to fall forward or why we tend to fall backward while traveling in a moving bus or in a stationary bus, when you are standing in a stationary bus. Understand, my dear children? So, the last one is inertia of direction. Suppose a fast moving bus, it takes a curve, a right curve. What are you inside the bus? You are inside the bus. So, it is taking a right curve, right turn it is taking. What happened to you? You tend to fall left side. Do you observe that one? You have experienced? If the bus turn right, you tend to fall left side. That means the inertia of direction always opposes the motion of the body. Inertia of the motion experienced towards the right means your body motion will be in rest. Both will opposite direction. Inertia of direction and the motion of the object always in opposite direction. You might have experienced that. Is it not, my dear children? So, this is inertia. Inertia of rest, inertia of motion and inertia of direction. Children, suppose one huge rock is here and one table is here. Asking you to push huge rock and table. Which one is easy for you? Of course, it is easy to push the table only. Why? Why it is hard to push that huge rock? There also inertia. Because huge rock, its mass is more. Is it not, my dear children? Its mass is more means it is gaining more inertia. The mass is more, so inertia also more. The table is, mass is less compared to the rock. Compared to the rock, the mass is less for table, so the inertia also less. So, inertia less only, so some amount of unbalanced force is enough to change the state of rest of this table. So, both at rest it gain the inertia of rest. Huge rock and the table both are at rest and it gain inertia of rest. So, if we want to change that state, we have to apply some unbalanced force, external force we have to apply for both. But the mass of the table is less compared to huge rock. So, what will happen? The inertia also less. So, some amount of external force is enough to change the state of this table to motion. But huge rock, what happened? The mass is small, the inertia attained, the inertia of rest attained by the huge rock is small. So, we need to apply a more external force to change its state of rest to motion. That's why it is easy to push the table than huge rock, because the inertia of the table is less compared to the rock. Why? Because the mass of the table is less. So we can say that inertia depends on mass. Inertia depends on mass. If any object have more mass, it has more inertia. If an object has less mass, it has less inertia. Suppose 25 kg one object and 10 kg. Which has more inertia? Tell my dear children. 25 kg one object, 10 kg one object. I am placing same. Here I am placing 25 kg one object and 10 kg one object. Which has less inertia? Of course, the less mass has less inertia. That means 10 kg object has less inertia because it has less mass compared to the other. And here 25 kg has more inertia than the other one because its mass is more compared to the other one. So the mass is more, so the inertia also more. So 25 kg has more inertia and 10 kg has less inertia. So we can say that inertia depends on mass of the object. So understood, my dear children? So this is all about first law of motion. First we understood what is the significance of laws of motion in our daily life. Some examples I told you. Next, coming to laws of motion. Before that, we explained the Aristotle and Galileo, their statements also we explained, and laws of motion, three laws of motions. Out of first we explained first law of motion. In that one term came, that is inertia. So inertia also we explained now. I think you understood the terms of laws of motion, that inertia and first law of motion. So next class we will continue the second law of motion with more activities. So my dear children, thank you.